guys, I'm in my PJs, but I do not care. I forgot I was gonna finish this book tonight, and I changed my PJs before I did, but it starts with us, which is the sequel to It Ends With Us. And I know that kind of, you think it should be the other way around, but it's not. But this one, I feel like this one in a way is more sad, but also in a way is more happy, if that makes sense. Like, Ryle is still a piece of shit. They're divorced at this point, but she never got a lawyer involved. Never put his abuse on record, and still wants him to be a part of his daughter's life. So it's like when it's his days off, because he's like a doctor, but when it's his days off, he just pretty much picks her up and takes her back home because Lily doesn't want him spending the night until she's like able to talk, which is completely understandable, but it wasn't really understandable to him at first. But then he would like go to his sister's house, which is like Lily's best friend, and was basically the one actually to tell her to get the divorce, but that was like in the previous book. And then this one, she kind of knows all about Atlas and encourages her to go out. And when he finds out that she's dating Atlas, he shows up in her apartment, like tries to call her. She's like oversleeping because she's like so exhausted from the night before, because, you know, her and Atlas gets together. And then he leaves, and then Ryle shows back up the next morning when he finds out and finds all the evidence that she slept with him the previous night. He throws her against the wall and starts choking her, and then demands like his daughter. So she calls up her mom, which is babysitting. It's like, just drive to the nearest park, I'll meet you, like just get out of your house. And when she gets her and she tells her mom like he's upset because I'm dating someone, she doesn't let her know like who she's dating, like the boy from the past. And then she actually ends up finding out. I kind of actually already always knew, and at the very end of the book, she like, oh, that backyard, because Atlas actually sold his house, bought a new house closer into the city, and with a big, huge backyard. And so Lily could eventually move in and build a garden. So he pretty much bought that house like in prep of like, one day we will be together. I don't know. I mean, like, that's sweet. There's a small part of me that was like, okay, that's a little off. But given the circumstances, he's just like watching out for her. And he actually bought like a go bag for her, which if she ever calls him again and goes to his house, she has an extra pair of clothes, an extra toothbrush, and all that. And they were dating for quite like a while. After, in the previous book, they meet each other on the street, and they've basically been like dating ever since, between text messages and all that. And she actually gave him Atlas her diaries from the past, and he read all of them, and then started reading her, sending her letters, which I think is pretty cute. And they're pretty long too. Let me see. And they're like different fonts, so it was kind of hard for me to like read a little bit because it's like in that handwriting thought. And then also here, like some of the chapters are from Atlas points of view, and it's like literally every other chapter, like Lily and then Atlas and then Lily and then Atlas. And these chapters aren't really that long, and this book isn't really as long as the other book, which kind of threw me off. And I'm like, oh, everything has to happen in this book, and it's like smaller than the other book, which kind of threw me off. But anyway, Ryle goes to his sister's house for an intervention, and Lily's there, and basically was like, after like, you know, he throwing her up against the wall because she's dating Atlas, is she is going to get a lawyer involved, and she only wants him to have supervised visits at his sister's house, which, you know, once again, understandable. And then he just storms off and he's not really in the book that much after that. And then after 6 months of their relationship, Lily moves in with Atlas, and then in the very beginning, I'm kind of going through what Lily's going through, but Atlas is pretty much going through it too in this book. He finds out he has a younger half brother, that is 12 years old in the beginning of this book, and by the time, and ends up getting custody of him, and by the time the end of the book, he's 16, and it's actually Atlas and Lily's wedding. That is the very last chapter, and it's like several years ahead, several years later, like 3 years later. My opinion, I'm like, yeah, sure, take it slow, because that was Lily's motto, was their relationships, taking it slow, because there was kids involved. Understandable, but at the same time, I'm like, you guys haven't really been taking it slow. It's not like you guys don't know each other and haven't been together before. And they weren't really taking it slow, if you ask me. They were getting very emotionally involved before they got physically involved. So they weren't, in my opinion, really taking it slow. They had all of those deep conversations, like before they even went on their official first date. But I like this ending. And I believe she definitely deserved a happy ending after what she went through, and it ends with us. And I'm happy that they got together, and they're getting there happily ever after. So, It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. The second book of It Ends With Us. And that's all I got for this book. See you later.